Some sleep.
Let's get started. All right, guys. Welcome back to another episode of The Least Favored. I'm your host, Natalie, with my co-host, Anthony, who's sitting over there, finally. He's with us.
Hi.
And again, we have my sister Priscilla with us. And today she brought her husband, Chris, with us, my brother-in-law.
You had to do that added sound
I
effects
have to
on
do
top of the
it.
sound
So you can
effects.
feel it because you can't hear it. So I want you to feel it.
I could actually hear it now. I can hear it now.
So we start every episode, like always, with a topic from the bowl. So, Chris, you get to pick the topic.
Oh, I get to pick
Yeah, because
baby.
Priscilla picked the last one.
Good.
So let's see what it is.
Let's see what we got here. Nah, we can't. Y'all just did this one.
We did?
Yeah,
What was
I think she put it back in the bowl, but
I
I think that's
did?
the first date.
Oh, yeah.
All right, next one,
my
next
bad.
one,
Next one. Sorry, guys.
My bad.
Edit that out. All right. Your longest relationship was how long?
Really? This
Current.
relationship?
Yeah, current.
This is your longest relationship?
This is my longest relationship.
That's what's
Oh,
up. How many
Last
years?
fucking one too.
How many
Right.
years so far?
Right.
6.
6 years so far.
Been 6
Yeah.
years.
I feel like y'all been together for like 15.
We've
Well,
known
we,
each
we
other
was best friends for what, 15, 16
since 2005.
years? Yeah, before
It's a
we
long
even
time.
decided to take that next step.
Mm-hmm.
From the friend zone to the end zone.
That's right. You got to play that long game.
Oh, yeah. Chris played that long game, yo. He was on it.
Yes, he was. He was on it, but he wasn't on it
Well,
all those
before we-
years.
I wasn't
Yeah.
as mature as I am now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Back then I was very different. A lot of people
He was a thot.
a lot of people that
He
know
was
me
a
now that
poopy.
didn't know me back then.
He was out here in these
wouldn't
streets.
put the two
All
together.
right.
I was.
Real
was out
quick,
here.
can we talk about what we were talking about before we put the cameras on
Yeah.
about the Jamie Foxx album? And how it was a time in both of your lives. And I asked my sister if y'all were thotting and bopping. And she
were.
said, yeah.
Yeah, we
were.
started bopping.
What does
started
that
bopping.
mean? Explain.
Nah,
I don't.
testing the waters.
Yeah.
So y'all
Kind of
was
like,
you know how when you go to the pool, you're like, yo, I never been to this pool before. Let me put my foot in real quick.
just to
See how
see,
cold the water
just to
is.
see if the chemistry was real, like just to
Right,
see if
right.
it was more than just infatuation. There was more than just what if.
Like an idea, like
Yeah.
oh, I like the idea of.
Okay, wait. So what exactly do you mean by test the waters? Yeah.
We was testing the
we
waters.
was testing the waters, and we drank several cups of water.
Oh, so it was you went to the pool more than once.
Yes.
Tasteful.
Oh my God.
Tasteful water.
Oh,
So that makes a
Lord.
lot more sense then, because I always thought that Chris was just obsessed with you and y'all were just friends.
Well,
and it was.
when you test the waters, I mean, not to toot my
Okay.
own horn, but
Nah, it's fine.
Nah, toot it, baby. Toot.
Oh my god. Supposed to be
Oh my
PG
God.
conversation here.
Anyway,
It is PG.
It's PG. It's PG.
Ish.
All right. So I guess. Oh wait, what was the question? What was your longest relationship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was
How
your longest
long?
relationship and how long was it?
Oh, it was Anthony for 5 years. That was my longest relationship.
mine was with Aiden's dad, 8 years. Yeah.
Anthony, what was your longest?
Yeah, I think you.
Mine? Ours?
Yeah.
5
Yeah.
years, yeah. It's a long time. I feel like anything more than 4 or 3, I don't know.
Anything more than 2 is like an investment.
I was gonna say.
You know that
Yeah.
the 5-year mark,
That's like an investment. if you
the
really
5-year
think
mark
about
in any, like they usually say in a relationship that most couples don't make it past the 5-year mark,
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the last 3 of our relationship now has just been the most toxic.
right?
Doing this podcast together.
Yeah.
It's either y'all make it if you pass the 5-year mark, then chances are y'all gonna be okay. That's what they say. But that 5-year mark has you determining, am I gonna move forward with this relationship?
Yeah.
Or am I, because by then you've already known the person long enough to see if you guys can continue growing together,
Yeah.
or you've already
Kind
gotten
of.
to see we toxic as hell. We
Right,
need
right,
to
right,
just
right,
part
right.
ways.
Yeah.
I mean, it also depends too if you really think about it, because you got to factor in age as well.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like if y'all start dating at 17,
Young, right.
you start real young. How much have you really grown? And then the thing is, everybody grows, right? The whole point of life is to grow and mature and venture off and try different things. And you know, with growth, you might lose some friends.
Right.
You might go on a different route than what your partner's going on. So the real question is to self, like, do I want to kind of like pull my partner towards me, like, yo, this is the route we should go together, or do I want to wait for them to come on this route on their own?
They may
'Cause
not.
eventually they may end up on that
They
route.
just grow
or
apart.
They may not.
Yeah.
You know? So there's a lot of things to factor in when you talk about that, in my opinion.
No, it's true.
It's true.
All right, so let's get started with the episode. Keisha Cole, feel me? All right, so we're gonna get started. I want to start with a relationship question. Obviously, this whole thing is relationship questions. So I wanted to start with this one. What do you do when one partner wants to improve the relationship and the other does not? So I guess that kind of just goes with the point that Chris made. But then, what do you do? I feel like the answer is simple, but I want to hear what you guys
say
gotta
let it
say.
go,
Me too. I was just gonna
because-
say you let it go.
I mean, because you can't, if you and your partner don't have the same purpose, because there's a purpose for every relationship, pretty much. And if, let's say, we're not seeing eye to eye, and I want to like take steps to try to fix the reasons why we're not seeing eye to eye, and you're choosing not to either see your faults or not to take the same steps in self-reflection and trying to see, okay, where can I better myself to make this relationship better? Then why the hell are we going to stay together?
Right.
Like, what's the point in that? If I'm constantly voicing to you what the problems are, and you know that there's problems, but because you're afraid to grow, or just because you're afraid to take those steps, or because you don't want to be looked at as less than a person for not taking those steps, then where are we going? Like, years of voicing the same shit? Let it go.
Yeah. I've been in situations like that, and I feel like the other person would just be like, oh, wow, you're just trying to change me. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a gaslighting
Right.
thing at that point. It's
It
like, oh,
is.
you're just trying to change me. You just don't accept me for who I am. You're not loyal. You're not holding me down. But it's like, I don't got to fucking tolerate your bullshit if I don't want to anymore.
I don't got to be loyal to disrespect. and
Exactly.
bullshit.
Like, I don't want to fucking do this. It's harder than it needs to be. It shouldn't be. I don't think, like, I feel like people feel like, oh, but relationships are hard work, and they do take a lot of effort, and they do, but it's harder when you're the only person putting the effort in,
Right.
the only person
only
willing to
person
put work
showing
in.
up.
Yeah, the only person showing up. It's true. It's like, what are we doing this for?
Like, I'm going to be mindful to how you feel. Like, I'm going to cater to your feelings and make you feel good. But yeah, you're making me feel like shit every day.
fuck
Like,
it.
nah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But what if the person isn't making you feel like shit? Like let's say, you know, you want more time from the person, but they work crazy hours or whatever. Like, what if they're not making you feel like shit?
Then there
But
has to
there's
be a
just, like,
compromise.
differences in personalities.
Yeah.
Rather, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
It
Like,
has to be a compromise, though, at some point. Like, yeah, granted, if your partner does work a lot of hours, they're not just purposely neglecting you because they're at work. But they don't, unless they have, you know, like, you got to compromise. You got to find a way, because it's not fair to the other partner either, that they're constantly looking even for 20 minutes of your time, and the other person just keeps using that as an excuse. También.
right.
Yeah.
Nobody works 24 hours in a day. I would hope
Or
not.
should they?
Or
Right,
should they?
like, what?
But I mean, everybody has time for what they want to make time for. So if you're working every day and your partner is saying, okay, but now that you're home, like, let's use a cell phone, for example. That's like the biggest thing with everybody. Like, we get so consumed into our phones. We're on social media. We're watching YouTube. That's time that you're using for yourself. But if you know that your partner is looking for time with you, then maybe put the phone down and dedicate that time to your partner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you got to make a compromise, or even like a video game, like everybody, whatever. But if you know that your partner's constantly telling you, like, yo, I'm here, hello, put the game on pause, watch a movie with your partner. Nobody's saying you got to spend the whole day with them, but something to show them that,
Right.
you know,
No time.
Yeah.
Little
Sounds
something.
like you got to be able to put your partner first. Don't put yourself first. Not do what you want to do. Like you saying, like
no, but you could do what you want to do, but at the same time, how would you feel? Like, let's say, okay, you working every day too, right?
I think what she's trying to get at is like it's got to be like a balance.
It has to be a
like,
balance.
No, yeah,
You got to give them some attention as well.
Correct. What I meant, like you got to put your partner first. Like if you have that few minutes of free time and you spend it just like on your phone doing something, but your partner's like right there with you, like fuck, like at least just have
Maybe
like
do
that
it
conversation
together.
or do it together.
Yeah,
like,
maybe
include that person.
include them in the YouTube videos or include them in whatever you watching. Also, just
Like, look
something.
what I'm looking at, or
just something.
look at
Yeah.
the game that I'm playing. You want to play this too, or
Something to
let's
just
go for a walk.
something.
Spend
Yeah.
that free time that you could have did by yourself with that person to try to just include them to keep it.
Just so they could feel like they're relevant in your life also.
Yeah, because I think to answer the question, when one partner wants to improve and the other one does not, it generally one is really just thinking about themselves more a little bit.
Right.
So it comes down to like kind of like they have a little bit more selfish mentality in a situation where one is thinking about us
Right.
and the other one's just thinking about like my needs. Like I can't do this anymore. Like I can't deal with, or I can't. And then usually they start talking that way.
Right.
So yeah, I just think one just becomes more selfish and is trying to be a little bit more selfless and think about
Pretty
the
much.
needs of your partner.
Exactly.
Oh, that sounds great. I was just no. I agree, but also because I was trying to think of like me when I've been in those situations. I'm very selfish, and I can admit that, because it would be like it's not enough that they want to include me in whatever YouTube video. It's like, yeah, but like I don't want to watch that YouTube video. So spend time with me, but do what I want you to do with me. You know what I mean? And there's situations like that too, where your partner is trying to spend time with you, but they also have things that they're interested in.
Right.
They're like,
So why don't, and they're trying to include you in that. So you could then make the effort to be included in their interests as well. So I just wanted to put that out there, like just a little extra,
Right.
little.
Yeah, I was
It's a nice
definitely
little
gonna say that.
curveball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it be like that. It's like the other person would try, but it's like you're so stuck in what you want to do or how they need to show up for you. And it's like, well, not everybody's going to show up for you the way you want them to.
Want them to.
So let people show up as who they are in their capacity and see if you can meet them where they're at. Maybe not all the time, because sometimes people give you some half-ass shit and it's like, nah, this ain't good enough.
Yeah, for that don't even bother.
But, you know, if you see that they're putting in the effort, then
Because I think, women, I'm just gonna say this shit.
Say it, fuck
Fuck
it.
it. Talk your shit.
Talk your
Women-
shit, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Will force men to watch some bullshit ass shows.
hell yeah.
And we be sitting there watching shit that we don't give a fuck about. We watching the Kardashians. We watching Love and Hip Hop and all this nonsense. And we not trying to watch, right? But like on a weekly fucking basis. Oh, Monday night, 9 p.m. This is our time to watch our show, honey.
Toxic
But we
Mondays,
want to watch
Monday.
one sports game with y'all a week, and y'all like this is the end of the fucking world.
Well, you see, we've been pretty good though.
Nah, we
We
been
good because it's like
yeah.
I don't really give him shit. Like honestly,
We look for shows to watch.
we look
together.
for shows to watch together,
And then,
but
and then
there's
she got her time where she watches her shows. And every now and again, I interject like, "Oh shit, that's what's going on now."
Because
And
you
then
know
I try
what?
to
to be a part
Low
of
key,
it.
guys be liking the toxic shows.
Right.
They be into it. They be like, wait a minute. So
Right.
she's sleeping with who?
right.
But wasn't she talking to that other guy over
The
there?
worst,
It's a form
He be the
of
one.
communication.
it's a
You know what I'm saying?
He'd
It's
be like,
get
but wait
into
a
it
minute,
'cause of
wasn't
that?
she with
Because
the
if I
other
didn't do
one?
that-
Wasn't she with homeboy?
if I didn't do that, then it's like, oh,
You're not
I
interested.
sit there and I watch your show with you and I pay attention.
No, but we talking
But,
about. Wait,
see-
we are talking about. We are talking about
we trying to engage
shows.
with y'all.
No, I
No,
know.
and which is great.
But we're talking about shows that he never even started watching with me, and he'll probably catch it on a scene where something crazy's happening, and he'll sit down,
Right.
watch a little bit, act like he's not really that interested. He'd be on his phone, and I be catching him watching. And he'll get up, walk away. Then the following day, I'm watching the show, and then he'll come. He'll be like, "But wait a minute,
was it this bro with this
with this
dude
one,
and this that?
you know?"
Or
Nah,
even
but
something
you-
subtle, like,
but
oh, I don't like
I'm
the
not
dress.
I'm not gonna
I
sit
don't like
there
that shoes she had
and
on.
not pay attention to anything that's
Right,
going on.
right.
Because that's me showing that look, I
Right.
know you like this. This is what you like, so I'm gonna pay a little bit of attention to it, so that this way it opens up topic for communication. Like, oh shit. Wasn't that bro with this dude and they was doing that?
Right.
Damn, that's crazy. Now this is what's going on. All right. Then after that's said and done, what I do? All right, I'm gonna go back to
Yeah,
Watching
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
he was doing.
playing my game or playing with the kids.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. but it allows you to keep that communication with your partner. If you don't pay attention to what your partner likes, you know what I'm saying, then you wouldn't know, like, all right, let me do this on this day. Like, instead of me doing this for me, let me spend some time doing this for her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
And there's times he be watching the Mayans or whatever he's watching.
And you'll watch it with me.
And I watch it
and you
with
don't
him.
have to. She could just be like,
But I just lay there with him just so we could spend that time together and we just watch it.
See, that's great. That's
So cute.
that's a great dynamic.
All right, so I wanted to switching gears a little bit. All right, so you guys have been married for how long now?
A year.
Wow, just a year, but together for 6.
Yeah.
And when you guys started, you already had Aiden.
Yes.
And so you kind of like assumed the stepfather role.
yeah.
And now you're an official father because you have my beautiful niece, Aria. Oh, she's
Shout
so
out to
fucking
Aria.
cute.
My baby.
I
Definitely should watch
wanted...
this when she
cheeks.
gets older.
Yeah. So we have a topic here. How do you guys communicate with each other when it comes to parenting?
I mean, we had this agreement from the start,
Yeah.
which was, you know what I'm saying, if she says something is law, if I say something is law. And then if we don't agree with what we, you know, like, let's say I tell Aiden something and we don't agree with it, we'll wait till he's away. You know what I mean? Like, he's in his room
And we'll talk about it.
playing or on timeout, and she'll be like, look,
Oh,
maybe we
timeout.
should do this or that or blah, blah, blah. We don't do it in front of him because the moment, and I've seen this time and time again, some of my friends, they have their kids and they're always bumping heads with each other, the parents, and the kids see that. So the kids start to learn that I know if I want a cookie, like before I go to bed, I go to mommy and I ask her because she gonna let me rock.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna go to daddy. But then some kids, you know what I'm saying, if he doesn't see that, the kids don't see that, then they to them it's like, I can't have a cookie at this time. Like,
Right.
past this time, I just can't.
That's it. It don't matter who I
So
go
I'm not
to.
even going to bother. If I go to mommy, she's going to tell me no. If I go to daddy, he's going to tell me no, and it is what it is.
You have to be on the same page as parents. You have to, because kids are very smart and they will manipulate the shit out of both of you.
Facts.
But it's
we were all
true.
kids.
Oh, yeah.
We all tried it.
They will. And if they see, like, because there's times I may be too hard on Aiden because I just feel like as a mom, like, I have to let him know you ain't going to fuck around with mommy. And there's times that I may be a little bit too hard on him. And once I do what I need to do or whatever, Chris will pull me aside and he'll be like, babe, come on, you don't got to punish him for that long. Like, chill. And I'll be like, all right, you're right.
We just
Fine.
had this conversation today.
We actually did. Yo, so
Yeah.
your nephew,
Oh, talk about it. My baby.
he was taking his albuterol pump, knowing how crazy his asthma is, and decided to just spritz the pump in the air.
No, but you got to tell him why he
Sounds
did it.
like
Why he
Aiden.
did it.
So I'm walking by the room and I hear the pump going off, and I'm like, but he's better. Like, what's going on? And I'm like, wait a minute, were you spraying your pump? He was like, yeah. And I said, you're spraying your pump in the air? He was like, yeah. And I said, why? Because I want to see what happens when it goes to 0. Straight face and all.
Wait.
The pump has a
Has
countdown, like a
Okay.
meter.
Okay.
So when I first got the pump, it was like at 190 something puffs,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
I just got that pump for him not even a month ago.
Oh, so it's already almost at 0.
Not almost.
No,
It's at zero? Oh, shit.
Because your man has been pumping that shit
Just to do it.
just to do it because he
'Cause
wanted to see.
what happens when it gets to 0. Like, is it going to explode?
I
These
said,
are things
like,
that go
the
in kids'
kids.
mouth. Is it going to blow up?
So what did you,
know what I'm
say?
So I said, what?
That's
First of all,
Aiden. That's Aiden.
with a straight face. And I said, you know that without that, if you need it, like, I have extra, but I can't tell him I have extra because I don't want him to think he could just be wasting pumps.
Right.
Right.
And, you know, luckily the insurance covers it. I don't have to pay nothing for it out of pocket. But he don't need to know that. So I'm telling him, you think I'm here working and because you want to see something go to 0? Like, what happens if you can't breathe? You know what happens? You
And
just
now
can't
that's
breathe.
done.
Like, it's
Yeah.
0. Like, that's what's going to happen. And he was just looking at me like with a straight face. Like, you know that look. That look. I love
So you
him.
punished him?
Yeah, I punished him.
For how long?
Well, I
What's
had
the sentence?
Well, he was going to be punished for a little while because I was pissed off at that. That pump was practically new. But then this morning when
Spritzing away.
pissed, like, what the
For
fuck?
some reason, I thought you were gonna say he thought it was like air freshener or some shit. Like he was just.
I mean,
Like
I
I
wish.
wish,
He
I
was
wish
curious.
that would have been his response.
Curiosity got
But
the
when he
cat.
came out
wanted
and
to
said,
know.
"I just wanted to see what happened when it went to 0," and then at first I thought that there was still some left. When I looked at that shit and it says 0, girl, I had to get out of that room because I was gonna lose my shit. So anyway, he was punished. I told him no TV or whatever, and I was actually gonna like let him play his, his Xbox and shit. So I said, no TV, you're not watching nothing. Go to sleep. He went to sleep. He slept for like mad hours. And then today, Chris, I was getting my nails done, and Chris calls me. He's like, he's still punished.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah.
So,
what do you think?
I was weird. I was a little weird. We woke up early this morning because he had to get blood drawn, and then when we got back to the crib, he went to the room and he went straight to sleep. I'm like, that's not Aiden. Like usually that TV's on. He got the TV on. He's playing with his toys. He's making noise. I'm like, why is he sleeping? And in the back of my head, I'm like, yo, I hope he's not getting sick. She told me yesterday, like, oh, what he did, and she barked on him, but she didn't tell me that he was punished. She just told me, yo, I barked on him. This is what happened. Your son walked out, spraying this shit to 0. So then today, I'm like, I call her. I'm like, yo, is he punished? She's like, yeah, he's punished. I was like, how long he supposed to be punished for? She's like, I'll figure it out when I figure it out.
I said, nah, but he got off punishment. He was watching TV.
And I was like,
Tito.
I think he understands it now. I think it was just because I was that kid. I wanted
to know.
I took my mother's toaster apart.
Yo.
Just because I wanted to understand how the toaster works.
When she was born, I was in mom's house, and it was the same night that mommy was giving birth to you. And I went into Jimmy's room. Jimmy's our uncle. I went into his room, and he had like a dagger, like one of them knives type shit. And I fucking took the shit and made triangles on mom's wall just because I wanted to see how the triangles would look on the wall. And I was Aiden's age.
Yeah.
Like
with a dagger.
Just carving triangles. But then my thing is that where the hell was mom?
He's at the curious
What kind of babysitting
age.
was going on there, right?
Yeah, we all do dumb shit. I remember when I cut my hair?
Oh my
I had
God,
a
Natalie.
piece of hair that was like up.
Natalie always used to do shit when I was babysitting her.
Always.
Always.
Because Priscilla would just be watching TV or on the phone.
I was a kid. I was
like, fuck it.
And I remember she fucking took a scissor and she cut.
Yeah.
She wanted to make bangs for herself.
But it wasn't bangs.
But it wasn't bangs.
At
because
all.
Natalie had long, beautiful hair. She didn't even have bangs back then. And she dead ass just cut a piece. So she had like a little rooster thing going on up here.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And I go into my mother's room and I'm like, she was in my mother, and I said, what are you doing? She's like, nothing. She had this pico, like I don't even know how to describe it, just sticking up.
Yeah.
Just up. Yo.
Yeah.
She was
out
alfalfa
like
for a
this.
minute.
Or even when I did
because it took a while. Oh, the mascara.
mascara.
She fucking took my mother's mascara. I forgot how old she was. She wasn't that old.
I was young.
She was young, maybe
Yeah.
6, 7 years old. And she took mommy's mascara. She put that shit all over her
I put
eyes.
one coat and I was like, oh, it looks good. I started watching
She
TV.
kept on.
I put another coat.
Yo,
Watch TV, another
she
one,
couldn't
another
blink.
one, like another one, like on some DJ Khaled shit.
I fucking went. She's looking at me like this. I'm like, what's wrong with your eyes? Open your eyes. She was like, they are open. I was like, what did you do?
The eyelids got so heavy that
I put so much mascara on.
That fucking mascara.
Like kids just do dumb shit.
Shit was
like,
hilarious.
It just is what it is.
It's hilarious.
It is what it is. Man. That's part of childhood.
Yeah.
It is. That was funny though. Mascara. I never
So
forget
parenting going well, I guess.
that. It's going great.
It's going great.
It's going well.
It's going great.
I have
Wait. Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Nat.
No, go ahead.
No. Go. I want to see what your question is.
No, I was gonna ask one of the other questions.
Okay, so
Go
I was
ahead.
gonna ask because I remember I asked you guys this before, and I guess I didn't write it down for here, and I remembered it. Obviously, you were a parent first, and you became a parent afterwards. How hard was it navigating that where you had your own idea of what it was like being a parent with a new parent, and it's like not trying to, like obviously,
belittle?
Yeah, like, make him feel bad about like maybe he had an idea of what you should do as a parent or like.
But you have
his
more
idea,
experience.
and you had the more experience. Obviously, you kind of got touched on like the communication, but still, it's a little different. When you first having those conversations or first holding Aria, and it's like, yo, I want to do this, or it's like I have this, and it's not like.
Well, Chris is really good, like at asking me. Like I don't have to worry about him doing no dumb shit with the kids, because he'll always ask me.
I always be like, babe, am I doing this shit right?
Right.
Because it's like you said, she's got that experience. And I know she's got that experience. For me, this is all new. You know what I'm saying? So I go to her for guidance. Like, is the pamper on backwards or I got it on right?
And there's times that I do catch myself, like sometimes like, oh my God, I can't believe he did that. Or like he'll ask me certain questions and I'm like, why would you, like, no, you can't do that. Like, no. But then I realized like he's a new dad, you know?
Yeah.
Even though he had nieces and nephews.
Older.
He was older.
He was already communicated. So he'll tell you, I'm hungry. I want a cookie. Right?
Right.
But Aria, nah. Right now, everything is animal sounds. You know what I'm saying?
Yo.
So,
All right. So one of the things that when you're a parent, right, you have to deal with your kids having tantrums, let's say.
Girl.
I know you guys have dealt with quite a few.
You have to deal. I'm dealing with them.
But, you know, like the way, I know how y'all were raised or how we were raised. Like, our parents weren't really talking with us. Like, now there's this thing about gentle parenting. Have you guys heard of gentle parenting?
Yeah, that's a joke.
But in a way, I kind of get it when it comes to, I guess, making your children aware of their emotions and how to cope with their emotions. So they're not spiraling.
So pretty much, like Aiden had a moment because he had missed a week of school from being sick. And when he had to come back to school, he had to take 4 tests.
Oh, damn.
So he like had a meltdown, had a nervous breakdown, was crying, and he was stressed out. I'm so stressed and all of this. And I was just like, and you know, part of me, because of how we were raised, mommy, you see, our parents didn't raise no punk ass little bitches, seriously. Because it's like anytime that we wanted to feel certain things, it was like, all right, get a grip. Like, come on. Like, there's so much worse than life. You're being selfish or you being like this for feeling this way. Like, it's not that serious.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that to my child because it's not right, because he should feel like his emotions matter and what he feels matters and it should be validated.
Yeah.
So in that moment, I wanted to be like, you got to be kidding me. But I spoke to him and I said, you know, Papi, I understand that you're stressed. I understand, you know, because it is a lot. You did miss a lot of school. I said, but
catching up to do.
I'm here with you, helping you. It's not like you're studying this on your own. I'm helping you. I'm giving you quizzes. You have Daddy Chris that's helping you also. And you still have a couple more days before you actually going to have the test. So by then you're going to be prepared. You're going to be okay. But it is okay to feel the way you feel. And I find myself doing that more because I don't want him to grow up and not feel like it's okay to express emotion. I feel like a lot of men have a problem expressing themselves. And any time that you want them to show emotion, they shy from it because they were probably taught, suck it up, stop being a little bitch. Chin up. And that's the reason why this generation is so fucked up, because men feel like it's wrong to show their weaknesses. And it's not wrong because we're human and we all have weaknesses. And I feel like it takes great strength to show your weaknesses. I feel like it's easier to hide them, and it's a lot better to just let it be. Like, just be normal. Like, they should be okay to cry and say how they feel and not have anybody look at them like, yeah, punk ass bitch.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, it's not right. So I'm trying to raise my son different for the new generation.
Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Nah, she hit that.
All right, perfect.
Right.
Yeah, right on the head.
How about you?
I'll say, don't worry, I'll beat him up. Make sure.
Yeah, see, because Anthony's like, oh, he got to be tough. And it's
you know what's funny?
I want him to be
but
tough too.
I don't do that with him though. I don't
It's
do
not
that
like that with him.
Yeah, I mean, I like wrestle with him and stuff like that, but I don't be like, yo, nah, nigga, man up, stop crying.
Yeah, nah.
Shit. But like, there's times like we've gone out and he's fallen and then he's like cry, and I'm like, nah. Like, yo, walk
Oh, no,
it
that's
off.
different. I'd be like, all right, Aiden, come on.
But if
Like,
it
break
hurts.
anything? Did you break anything? You all right?
Yeah, I'm like, nah,
Shit,
get up. Like,
Toughen up, kid. That's
yeah,
it.
walk it off. You all right?
But how do you
Broke,
guys
move.
feel?
Right.
Do you feel like you weren't allowed to show your emotional side
I'm
growing
different.
up?
I didn't give a fuck.
But you
I'm
weren't
being
always
real,
like
though,
that when
but-
you was a kid.
Nah, man, listen. When I was coming up until about like 5th or 6th grade, I used to get picked on all the time because I didn't give a fuck. I showed my emotions. I didn't care.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
kids used to pick on me like, ah. And then it got to the point where it was like, I'm going to show my emotions, but if you pick on me, I'm going to fuck you up now. Now we're going to fight.
Right.
Whether I win or lose, we're going to fight. And I'm going to earn your respect.
Right.
You know what I mean? But in the younger years, like, it's different. I didn't have my dad around. You know what I'm saying? So it was hard. I didn't have like a male figure around me to say, yo, this. You could show your emotions,
Right.
but you know what I'm saying? When you're around certain people, you want to, quarantine that shit off. I didn't know all of that. So I was just like, yo, I'm just winging it right now. My older brother was 3 years older than me. Mm-hmm. So he had a little bit more experience, but he was a kid too. You know what I mean? And my older sister, she had to take that mantle at a young age. And she's the oldest one, all boys. She's the only female. So she tried to toughen us up, but there was only but so much that she could teach us.
So like, I feel like I'm great at showing my emotions, although Priscilla doesn't think so. But I feel like I'm very vocal if something bothers me. Whatever, I know that.
But there's differences to it though, because you're vocal if something bothers you. But like expressing you're sad is like you don't show like some people, and some people are like that. Some people just don't. It's like it goes back to what I was saying about quarantining certain shit off. You know how to quarantine. I'm not gonna show someone when I'm sad. I'll show them when I'm angry.
mad. Yeah.
I'll show them when I'm pissed. I'll show them when I don't agree with something.
Yeah.
But if I'm sad, like if I'm heartbroken, I'm not gonna show that to just anybody. You choose who you want to see that side of you.
Right.
Really?
Coffee.
Yo, I swear that shit is so obvious with Natalie.
But see, it's obvious because she chose for you to see some of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For a third party person like me, like I'm part of the family, but she's not gonna show certain things to me. She's not gonna show me things that she would show to you because y'all were in a relationship together.
Yeah.
So there's a different level of that. So she knows how to quarantine a lot of that shit off and say, nah.
Let me tell you something. When y'all broke up,
Put it closer.
when y'all broke up, none of us knew y'all broke up. You never showed us that side.
There was nothing to really show.
I
I
didn't
felt like
believe
I
it.
dealt with it.
What?
I felt like I dealt with it.
Yeah, but you dealt with it so by yourself. They're not
Yeah.
even.
Yeah.
Well,
Mommy
the world
and
was
Bobby
on
knew.
quarantine, like,
Doesn't
the next
matter.
week.
She was quarantined with
Yeah,
our
but-
parents, and our
but-
parents didn't even know.
During that whole time while everybody was quarantined, the voice notes was crazy between these two. How's mommy? Because remember, moms was sick.
Yeah.
Jenny was sick, so how's mommy doing? Blah, blah, blah. Make sure you make the tea for her.
Not
Make
one
sure you do
mention
this.
of y'all being broken up. So
There's certain things. Yeah, I feel like you're right. There's certain things I'm
Right.
pretty good at blocking
you quarantine
off.
shit off. You're like, nah.
If I don't want to talk about it because it bothers me or it's
She
triggering or
doesn't.
whatever. But the main thing that I was gonna say is the reason why I don't talk about things that are sad, which I don't know how you say is obvious with me, because I feel like even when I talk to you about things, you know when I'm sad, but I don't want to talk about why I'm sad. Like, you don't know why I'm sad. You'll know when something gets me upset
Yeah,
or
but
when
I know
I'm
you're
mad.
sad. That's what
You
I'm saying, you're
know,
emotional,
but
so have
you
those
don't know
emotions.
because I'm crying to you. You just know because I'm probably sitting there and I'm not engaging fully. Like, I'm not.
That's a form of
That's showing
expressing your
emotions.
emotions.
Expressing
I
your
guess,
emotions.
but I
It's
feel
a
like
form-
I'm
It's
not.
different from the norm, but it's a form of it.
I'm not
Because
more.
even like when I was younger,
Yeah.
I actually was emotional with shit. And when I think about it now, I was, because like my pops wasn't in my life growing up. So for me, when I was a kid, I was bad in school. Like I used to fucking go to school and I was like literally cursing teachers out. Like,
Hell
yo,
yeah.
fuck this. Like, I
Taking
don't want
that,
to be
throwing
here.
them shits. I was
And
doing
it-
crazy
yeah,
shit.
because I didn't have my
moms
pops.
was in school all the time.
And, and like I just always thought like, yo, this is the way I'm gonna just express some like anger or some shit
Right.
that I didn't have my pops on, because I always wanted a family when I was a kid. I wanted to have my moms and my pops. It was normal in my life that I had, but at the same time, I used to want my pops to go see me watch him play football and basketball and shit, but I didn't have that shit, so it made me act out a certain way. As I got older, I realized that I was acting this way because of that.
because of that.
And then that
But
made
when
me
you're a
just
kid, you don't know that. You just like,
and it just made
it's
Exactly.
for you. It's
and I
normal.
used to I started thinking, even when I was young, I really started thinking about it. And I was like, damn, this is why I was behaving this way. So it made me even less emotional now as I got older. Cause it's like, you know what? when I was being overly emotional, I was expressing, I was just maybe lashing out on people and just behave in a way I shouldn't behave. So I knew I was way more emotional when I was young, and just as I got older, I just thought about it like, damn. So anytime I do have those times where I can get emotional, I definitely chill the fuck out. And I know when I'm emotional. I think I am, but I do a really good job at controlling it and not making it something that's going to affect others.
Well, my main point here was the reason why I said what I said was because sometimes people aren't as expressive with their emotions. Like you were saying, like men feel like they don't have like the space to be vulnerable or whatever. Yeah. And it's because sometimes, but even not just men, sometimes you can be expressing yourself and just people just shit on you or they dismiss you or they're not really taking it seriously. So people are like, all right, so what the fuck is the point of even expressing my emotions? So even though I don't have kids, my main thing was like, yes, it's good that you teach Aiden to express himself and to make him, you know, validate his feelings. But I think you should also, or have you ever thought about teaching him how it'll be when he expresses it to people or to the world that, in a world that no one gives a fuck really, or may not give a fuck because you care. Right. So he might feel very comfortable in the house to express himself, but he'll go maybe to school or in his adult life at his job or even in a future relationship where he's not met as compassionately or empathetically.
Right. How would he navigate that?
How would he navigate that? So I think it's also important to just like maybe have a talk with him too. Like not every space is safe for you to express yourself, unfortunately. Knowing who to turn to and who to be vulnerable with.
I'll have that talk with him, but I feel like right now he's still
right now, but just something to keep in mind.
Like that is something, of course. Yeah. Because mommy had those talks with us. When
and eventually he's going to learn that on his own.
Yeah. He's going to end up learning it anyway.
He's going to learn it. Because the thing is that as a parent, you're going to tell your kids A, B, C, D, E, and F. Mm-hmm. And just once they hit their teenage years, just out of spite, they're going to be like, not doing that.
Mm-hmm. I could trust everybody. Yeah. Everyone loves me.
I'm gonna do what I want to do. Like, I need to make my own sneakers. I don't need to fit in mommy's shoes or daddy's shoes.
Yeah, then they got shitted on, and they're like, damn, that's what my parents was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But they're gonna learn. They're gonna learn through their own experiences. Right. I mean, we all learn through our experiences. How many times our parents told us, "You got to do this," and we like,
right?
I ain't doing that shit. And now look at this. I think we all did great.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But he's gonna learn on his own. She's gonna learn on her own.
She's definitely gonna learn on her own
share that
because
information.
She don't look like she gonna be with the shits.
Nah, she's not. She gonna give us a run for our money. That's
she's already giving me a run.
She is.
Real quick. Hold on. Just wanna switch gears real quick. I like this song. All right, so we have like 2 more questions. I wanted to ask, well, Anthony wanted to ask, how important is it that you understand your red flags or your partner's red flags? Your partner's red flags or your red flags?
No, how do you understand your red flags?
That's major.
Yeah. And what are your red flags?
That's big, man. Understanding your red flags is a big thing, man. I don't think people really realize how important that is as an adult. Just as an adult in general, like in life, that shit is so important. And when it comes to work, when it comes to your relationship with your friends, when it comes to relationship with family, when it comes to that relationship with your wife or your girlfriend, that shit is huge, man. Understanding who you are and what you do and
what you're willing to deal with,
right,
and tolerate.
It's big. That shit is huge.
Because I think red flags, people put red flags on to other people, like, oh, you're a red flag because you do X, Y, and Z, or you're a red flag because you believe in that. But red flags are really about you, because what's a red flag to you may not be a red flag to me.
Right.
So like if somebody calls you every hour on the hour, you might think that's normal and that's a beautiful thing, but to me, I'm like, hell no, I don't like that shit. Like, what the fuck you calling me every hour for? So red flags are really about you, and like you said, understanding yourself. Like what is not okay with you, so you don't even have to put yourself in certain situations. And
that's one of the biggest problems in society today, is that people are so quick to jump into the next big thing. I got to do this. I got to do that. I left this job. I got to go get another job over here and do this. And one thing I learned, so with a past job that I had, you know what I'm saying, we went on strike, and I was like, I gotta stay within that same career path.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then after taking time and talking to myself and understanding who I was as a person, I was like, that shit's not for me no more. Like, I grew out of that. I just wasn't ready to accept it, but I grew out of that. I need to venture into something bigger and better. And that's what I did. You know what I mean? And understanding your red flags and, like, where you are as a person is major in life and in every single aspect that you could think of. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us, we hold red flags and we just ignore them because it's easier to ignore your red flags. It's so easy to say, I'm not the problem, that person's the problem. I'm not the problem, she's the problem, he's the problem. When really, like, you're doing things that's causing them to react in certain kind of ways.
Because I know I was a problem.
You just be the problem just for even staying there. Right. Like, if you know that person's a problem and they're a red flag and it's causing all these issues, and, like, why are you still in the situation? You're ultimately the problem because you don't have to. Excuse me, sorry.
I know that in our relationship, pretty much, my red flag was always whenever we had a disagreement or, like, an argument, I wanted to, like, talk about it right then and there.
Oh, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
And you have to know your partner also.
Right.
Because if you have a partner that's just as hot-headed as you are.
And I get hot.
And y'all going to talk about it right then and there, nothing's going to get solved. Because it's just going to escalate and cause more chaos and more problems. So I had to learn, because one thing too, you always have to be the bigger person. I chose to be the bigger person. And whenever there is a disagreement, not to say that I'm not going to talk my shit, because I am going to talk my shit. But I have learned to remove myself and take that little time for me, just to, like, I guess, look at the situation and see if I'm overreacting, if maybe I misread the signs, or maybe I misinterpreted his whatever he said, or the approach, or whatever. And then I sleep on it. And then if I still feel like I was right, I didn't misinterpret it, then I'm going to be like, all right, we need to discuss what happened. But that takes growth, because me I was not like that. Like, I didn't give a fuck if I misinterpreted anything. I didn't care. It was always my interpretation. That's the only side I saw. That's the only thing I focused on. I didn't focus on anything else. And I realized that being that way wasn't going to put me in a healthy relationship, and it wasn't going to provide a healthy relationship, especially for my son at the time. Now with Aria, forget about it. So it's like, now I'm more mindful of those things, and you have to be, like, you just can't keep walking around being an asshole, like, you know, and
Facts.
you just can't. So I've learned to just let it go, because that was major. It's major for me.
And that's like one of the hardest things, at least for me, one of the hardest things to come, like, to just say, you know what, let me just shut the fuck up, take a few steps back, and look at it from a different perspective. Because a lot of the times we look at everything from our point of view. Like, I'm pissed off because of this, and this. But then you don't look at it from your partner's point of view, or your friend's point of view, or your neighbor's point of view. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Or your boss's point of view. You just look at it like, this is what it is. That's that. But sometimes you got to take that step back and say, all right, let me look at it from this person's perspective, and let me try to get an understanding of why they feel this way, or they're talking this way, or they're reacting this way, whatever the case may be. And it'll take you, it could take you a lot further. Like, back in the days, my boss would tell me this, that, and the third, I'd go fuck yourself. That was my response. Go fuck yourself. I was in a union. I could do shit like that. Go fuck yourself. I'm not doing that. You crazy? What are you smoking? Now, in this day and age, like, I look at it from a boss's perspective. Like, this dude is looking at a bigger goal than me. Like, for me as an employee, I'm coming in, clocking in, doing my job, I'm leaving. But this person is looking at it in the broader spectrum, and I'm like, all right, now I see where they're coming from. Now I see why they're hitting me with this, that, and the third. So now let's talk, and let's come to an agreement with her and I. You know what I'm saying? Like, we may have disagreements, and sometimes in the moment she may say something and I don't see it from her point of view. But then if I take that time out to sit back and look at it from her point of view and try to get an understanding, I'm like, damn, you know what? She kind of got a point. Like, I could see why she's pissed off at me. babe, we're gonna do this from now on. Blah blah blah. That's growth, man. That's major in life. I think a lot of people, for all y'all out there, if you haven't taken that time out to get to know yourself and what your self red flags are, definitely do it. It'll change your life dramatically.
That's right. Talk your shit, baby.
You're not doing Natalie's favorite word. You're not holding yourself.
Oh, you're not holding
Accountability.
it. You have to
Right.
take accountability.
Self accountability is a huge
But you have
thing.
to, and accountability starts with you.
Always.
Right.
Because if
You
you
can't
don't hold
hold
yourself,
anybody else accountable,
if
and
you
not
don't hold
hold
yourself accountable,
Period.
period.
One last question. If you were judged by the lowest point of your life, would you be canceled?
I feel like people getting canceled for everything right now.
First of all, I don't believe in cancel culture.
I don't believe in it at all.
I think I would. Like when I was younger, like
Yeah, but you were,
I did some
a
dumb
mess.
shit
You
when
were
I
a
was
hot
young.
ass
I
mess.
definitely was on some way more like homophobic type shit. Like growing up in like the 90s New York.
Tommy's
Like-
face.
No, it is what it is. When I was younger, like I don't feel that way anymore. But when I was a kid, like I definitely was like everyone was like a bitch ass, like you fucking, like you know what I'm
Right.
saying. Like that's just how it was back then. Like and like if you was like even type some kind of like gay or whatever,
I feel like Chris was probably on that same. No,
It is
100%. I was.
All
Not
right.
even.
You know what I'm
not
saying?
even
So-
a shred of doubt in my
yeah,
mind.
it's like yo, I used to be like, oh, this dude's like this little.
But that comes down to like
way we was.
where we was raised.
That's
where
what I'm
we,
saying. It was
the way
fucked
we
up.
grew up. At that time, right in that era,
Yeah,
that
you
was
couldn't-
like the thing. You know what I'm saying? When you talk shit with your boys, that's how you talk shit with your boys. But you also, a part of you also felt that way, like, fuck out of here.
Yeah,
Now as an
Why?
adult,
I always wonder, like,
but
that's crazy.
Because
so
it was
where
like-
I grew up at,
Because we don't do
We
that
wasn't
as
exposed to
females.
that.
Like, we don't be like, oh, fuck that butch. We don't do that. But you know what I'm saying?
Not
Like,
bitch.
Not bitch, butch. But you know what I mean? Like, we don't go around saying shit like that.
That's-
Right?
yeah. Well, that's
we
what I'm
don't
saying. So,
care.
like-
and we went to all-girl Catholic high schools where there was a lot of that going around.
lot of butch.
A lot of butch. And we didn't, I didn't care. Like, you want to munch? Do your thing. Like, you know.
Thought I was feeling you.
Right.
Nah, it was
so-
it was like a weird.
Oh my
it was
God.
wild. Like for us, like it was just like we wasn't even talking to like. If you was like, yo, if you even kind of had like a switch when you walked, or like
Right,
had a little
right,
twang
right.
when you talk,
Right.
Little twang.
yeah, like we was
your
like,
hand,
nah.
your hand gestures.
Yeah,
was
if you
just
was
like,
a little too extra,
Twang.
you know,
that's how we was in it. Like now I'm just at the point where it's like I could care less about any of that. Like it don't matter to
But
me
that's
at
the
all.
thing. Y'all should have always cared less
but
about it. Because
I think it boils down to exposure as well. You know what I'm saying? Because some people,
I guess
aren't
because they're not as
exposed to it.
exposed. And now we
Like,
live in an era where
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's on fucking cartoons.
it's even in the
now.
Disney movies now.
Right,
Like,
right.
It's cracking
Nah,
up.
this is, so like my uncle.
She's done.
I know why.
She's
I don't
like
even know. I
dying
don't
over
know.
here.
But so my uncle, right, is my uncle, I have a gay
Lord.
uncle too, just like y'all have gay uncles.
Yeah.
So my uncle was gay, but growing up, when I was like really young, I used to like really not get along with my uncle that well. But it was all with me because I'm like, yo, this nigga's gay. Like, fuck, this dude can't tell me shit.
You ain't
like,
even give him
right.
a chance just because you wrote him
That
off.
is crazy.
That's
we-
crazy.
but it was just like I used to be that way. And like I used to
crazy.
act that way when it comes to like gays. I'm like, nah, you ain't no real man. Like that's the way I used to look at it. And but when I got older
ain't
and
a
like
man.
I lived down there like late, like early 20s or whatever it was, we got mad cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Me and my uncle got mad cool. It was because my mentality had changed. I wasn't the same.
Right.
You grew up.
I grew
You
up. It
wasn't seeing a gay man.
yeah,
you were
it wasn't
seeing
that same
your
way.
uncle.
And I
Like,
was seeing just like we would just chill. We would just watch movies and shit together, and we just hang out and just have a good time. And I was young, it's like, nah, you.
I feel like honestly, anybody's sexual preference, that ain't got nothing to do with me. So at the end of the
it
day,
is your butthole.
your butthole,
your mouth.
your munching, that's your business.
It's
Like,
your mouth.
Correct.
It's
Your
your
butthole, your
scissor.
carpet.
But that's what the question
it's
is.
your everything.
Your
I'm not gonna talk
past.
to you about
the
your
question
sex
is about your
life.
past.
Yeah, the question is
I
about
know,
your past.
I know.
It's something you would judge like your
I'm
lowest
trying to
points in,
think.
like,
I don't
in how you
think-
were in the past.
maybe because I've always been very open minded, even as a kid. Like I've
Right,
always
we've
been like
very
that.
open minded.
And I don't know if it was maybe because we did have that exposure,
Right,
because
we
we did
did.
have our uncles
But
that were
that's
like
what- I had
that.
the same
Yeah.
exposure.
Papi had a cousin
but I think
that
men-
became a woman.
And for men, it was
A man to
I
a
don't
woman. So
know.
we
I
had like
feel
a
like-
lot of exposure to stuff
But in
like
general,
that.
men are like, all right, we could talk about it.
I think men are just harder.
No, men are like
Pause.
ingrained.
Right.
But like,
Wait a
pause,
minute.
pause.
Wait a minute.
Oh, no. Yo, the fact that your wife fucking says pause.
Right. Like,
No, I'm saying men.
But the way we're raised, I
you're more
just
tough.
feel like.
But I
like,
think that's even.
But men are like ingrained with homophobia, I feel like. Either from their friends, from society, from whatever. It's like music, hip hop,
Everything.
rap, whatever. Like, I don't know. Women, we're not really like that unless we're like really raised by parents
But
who are
even-
like drilling that in us. But men are, everything is like, oh no, that's gay. I can't do that. I can't compliment another man. I can't tell him he looks good. I can't tell him I like his outfit. That's gay. And it's just like,
Of course.
but
And
girls
even-
will be like, bitch, you look mad good. Oh my
Right.
God.
But
Smack
also,
each
like,
other's
one thing
asses,
I've been
like-
Right.
talking about recently, in New York especially, like, if I just give you a compliment, like, yo, you're doing really well with your podcast. Growing up in New York, yo, you dick riding this motherfucker. Like,
Right
you
away.
straight
Right,
dick
yeah.
riding. Like,
right.
you,
That's
yo,
true.
get off this nigga's dick. That's straight New York. You can't compliment someone. So,
Yeah.
growing up in New York, in the city,
I hate
anytime
that
you
for
get
I think it's just
anything-
like
I really hate that.
I think it's based where you're raised at.
Yeah.
I hate
'Cause,
that. That's
you know,
so
if you,
crazy.
If you grew up in the burbs, you probably
Cause
I agree because you
Probably
know
looked
what?
at things
Where I
differently.
work now, so I work in a liquor store part time, right? And my coworkers, they're not from the hood, so like even today they're all men. They were smacking each other's asses, and that's how they play around. Like they were
Yeah,
slow
so I don't
dancing
play
with each
around like
other, but
that.
they
Yeah,
play
I don't-
around like
Don't
no,
touch-
but
don't
like
touch my
you know, we
ass.
were a little lit.
You could toss jokes and shit
y'all
like
can't
that,
So
but
play
when
around
you
like
don't
that.
actually
when
when
you
I
play
play football,
sports, did y'all
like this.
slap each other in the
I'll do
ass?
a back to like
So that
like
made it
that.
less gay. To
I'm
you?
not smack. No,
you-
because you know dudes be doing that whole ass smack.
Yeah,
I don't do
he
that
wasn't
shit.
cupping the cheek.
Nah,
No cupping.
It'll just be like, yo, good shit, like right here, like that, good joint.
Oh, on the leg.
That's it. Backhand, like
Oh,
this.
okay.
It's not like,
But
broke.
nobody was backhand in the butt.
Nah, I'm good on that.
Okay, I'm just.
Just wasn't doing that.
But
shit.
like this
No,
is how
because
they
you see
play
it in the
around.
Yeah.
NFL, in our movies, in the
Smack each other's asses.
Nah, that's
Good job.
Nah,
And they smacking hard.
Girl.
they be
It
wilding.
stings. They be
sometimes.
wilding, but
But
I feel
that-
like you know.
but no, it does
Y'all ever give
because
each other wedgies?
see, I wasn't into all that shit.
Right.
Like,
I
all
wasn't
that type of
into
shit,
all
I'm
that
good.
shit either.
But like for the dudes, like with me,
I
like
used to slap
First of all,
people's
you
food out
sounded
their
excited
hands.
asking that question. Y'all
Nah.
gave each other wedgies.
because you do have
you was
like
hype.
obviously when you play in
Only
a team
because of what
sport,
they be showing
you're
on
playing
TV.
with a bunch of different people from different
Oh man,
different
all these
places.
guys, wedgie.
But a lot of the dudes that was from the hood was not into. We was like, nah, we ain't doing that shit.
A lot
But
of the shit you
dudes-
saw on TV and
like
like
the dudes
the
get from
football
first.
movies and shit, that shit ain't go down for real.
Yeah, that's how it be. We be having my inside jokes all day.
Oh man.
Oh my god, this
So,
was
yeah.
rich. How are we feeling, guys? There's no more topics. Are we good? I'm glad you guys came. How do you feel? Like, how was everything? Because you were a little nervous. You
It
feel
was
good.
great.
I was at first.
See, but once you start talking, it's like
But he's a nat. He act
you
like
a
he has.
natural.
First of all,
you had mad shit to say.
you are a social butterfly.
You
'Cause
are.
You be.
Wait.
Well, that shouldn't have said that after this conversation.
Right, right.
But
Let's take that butterfly
Reel it
comment
in.
back.
anyway,
Just reel it in. He spread his wings.
I might be canceled after this episode.
I'm
for
really
my
delusional right now. I'm so
elementary school
exhausted.
days.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening, guys. Thank you for
having
coming.
us.
Yes, of course. This was great.
man.
And we'll see you guys next week.
yes.
Bye.
Oh man, that was a good episode. Hilarious. Right.